good morning to everyone out there. Thanks for joining me today. Getting back in the swing of doing some live streams here, so appreciate you joining. And we're going to pick up where we left off last fall with the mid-century modern edition. And so, life kind of carries on. Last fall, I was, doing these live streams leading up to base camp, and then all of a sudden you get sidetracked, and then fast forward a year and here I am. So anyways, I kind of took a look at the files, and it seemed worth picking up where we left off with the proposed design. And then maybe the next session we'll get into creating the actual drawings. So I've got you live on the chat up here. Welcome to my studio. These sessions are, hey, there's JB. These sessions are super casual. I'm just gonna talk through what I'm doing. You're probably gonna see me fumble around a little bit, figuring out plugins on the fly, kind of a real world working scenario. So anyways, how you doing, John? Everything going okay over there? Oh. All right, I'll get rolling. But yeah, like I said, I'll be keeping my my eye on the chat panel up here. Let's get to it. So yes. And Justin Geis in here, John Brock, and we got the crew. Thanks, guys. All right, so I'm going to go to File and choose Open. Hey, Michael McLaughlin, thank you, sir. I'm going to go to Brightman Designs, and under Content, I've got my BD live, and this is session number 8. And I already copied all these project files. So like basically each session that I've been doing, I just copy the project files. Oh, let me share my screen. Stand by. I'm going to fix one thing. I've got my advanced scene switcher. And so now, if I go to my camera and move my mouse, we're good. Okay. So on my screen here, I've got all these different sessions I've done. So each time I just copy the project files forward. And so here's our, let's see, in the project files, we've got our existing conditions. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. And this is where I left off. And I'm just going to get set up and kind of reacclimated with this project. This is my Condoc Tools extension here, and this is the Condoc system where we load our different drawing sets. And in this project, I was using the Flex Tools doors and windows. And so I've loaded the Flex Tools drawing set. If you're just kind of not using any of these other plugins, you could load the Architect drawing set. But if you look in the Labs folder, I've already set up some of these drawing sets to work with like Flex Tools tags and all that. So we're going to use that drawing set. And then if you hit reset, that's going to kind of get us back to good. And I kind of modified our design scene tab so that certain things were showing. And if I remember right, I was just kind of leaving all these other tags in place. And so those are going to sit on the outside of our Condoc Tools tag folder. And if I check, I'm just kind of getting reminded, we're going to hide tags not shown in the drawing set. You could switch this to show tags. We haven't done a lot of drawings. I think what I'm probably going to do is just torch. These are all canvas tags. And this is a PDF importer tag, I believe, John Brock. And then these are placemaker tags. And I really don't think we're going to need them. I'm going to leave them alone just for the moment. So anyway. All right. And then where we ended up too was we took the drawing that we created in layout. So I have I hope this is the right file. Yeah. Okay. So this is the drawing that we created in layout. I believe there's a whole session on drafting in 2D. And then we came up with this design. And then I exported it as a PDF, imported it into this model. This is our existing conditions. And what I'm going to do is just do a save as. And then we're going to call this our proposed conditions, like that. So it's always a good idea. It's always a good idea. Oh, let's see how we doing here. Am I frozen? I'm sure I'm going to have some issues today. It felt like one of those days. Let me see what's up with my camera here. Camera 1. Give me just a moment here. And face cam, deactivate, activate. Okay, hopefully we're back on board there. And yeah, this is actually, let me say this. We're going to do a little switching around. Yeah, I was having a little bit of issues with OBS yesterday, which that's the program I use to set up all these live streams. I had to roll it back like a whole year to get to work with this scene switcher plugin and my whole setup. So anyway, it's been one of those weeks. On top of that, I just put in a new graphics card, which should, you know, so far it's been great, but that's always one of those things where you never know what you're going to get. So anyway, what I was going to say is that it's always a good idea before you save as your proposed conditions, make sure that your existing conditions are as complete as they can be. And let's see, you don't have to use, I mostly use my own windows with, oh, that's cool, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. You don't have to use their stuff. You can use their, you can even use their dynamic components to get it started. So anyways, get the existing conditions as far along as you can and then save as proposed. All right, so now we got everything jamming the way it's supposed to. I think I'm good. You know, I'm definitely keeping my eye on the chat. I'll try and watch my screen over here. You can see my setup. I've got, like, you know, the feed happening. So if I am frozen or not coming through, please let me know in the chat. All right, so I guess, you know, really what we're going to do in this session is just build out this. We've saved it as our proposed conditions. And so now we can just kind of get started. So, like, you know, this is where you start to demolish things, you know. So, like, here, instead of being existing, we're going to demolish that and like that. So that's how easy it is with our tagging system to switch something over, you know, whether it's existing or it's demolished. And this way, if I go and turn off my demolished tag so that we can kind of start seeing things go away like that, there we go. All right, and so that's going to help. And then I'm going to freeze the roof tag, get rid of that. And that way I can just kind of see inside. And then I'm going to update my design scene tab. And that way, you know, whenever my elements are all on, if I hit reset, it'll get back to that view that I like, you know, where I can kind of see inside and see what's going on. All right, so now there's no right or wrong way to go about this. So we're just going to go through and, you know, these guys, of course, we're going to demolish those as well. So those will be on the demolish tag. And then we're going to need to, like, demolish out, you know, all this stuff in here too. So let's get rid of all these guys like this. And you can see these are all like tagged existing and like that. We're going to delete or demolish all those. And we'll just kind of work through this. I'm going to turn off my background for now. I can just like select this and hit F to freeze it. And that way I can, you know, clearly see what I'm working with right here. So we're just going to grab the rest of this stuff and all this stuff. And this is all demolished. And what did I just grab? Unhide that. This floor is not demolished. We're not going to demolish that whole floor. Okay, so then we'll keep chipping through here like that, and like that, and like that, and we're going to demolish those, and that. All right. Nice, like this, Yeah, I like that with this tagging system, you know, it's kind of like this visual checklist. I like to turn off that demolish tag, and that way as I go through here, and you know, I might even, like this floor, I'm just gonna freeze the floor because I kind of keep on grabbing that accidentally, just like, you know, I froze the background or the, you know, that imported drawing, and this way I can just kind of be a little bit looser with my selections like that. And all right, and then these guys are all going to get demolished as well, like this. And then I'm going to save this as I go. And this guy, and all this trim as well. Like this, I think we're demolishing all that. And you know, it's kind of nice too. Instead of deleting it, all these different pieces that are going to be demolished, we're setting them on this demolish tag. And then if we come back and we say, oh shoot, you know, I actually don't want to demolish that, it's really easy to switch it over and bring it back to just existing. And essentially the three different conditions are, you know, new, existing, or demolished. And so if you think of it as, you know, new is proposed, existing is more like existing to remain, and then demolished is like we're getting rid of it. But yeah, using this system, if you like, rather than trashing it out of the model or like having to go back into the existing conditions model, it's kind of nice to have it all living in here. And if you think about it too, like when you need to create your drawings, then you only need that one model. So like in order to create your demolition plan, we're going to be able to isolate the demolished entities on its own viewport and set it to dashed. And if you wanted to make like an existing conditions plan, that would be like your existing plus your demolished equals existing conditions. So it's pretty handy to have all this, you know, information in this one file. All right, look at this. Things are rolling now. My screens are switching over. Everything's going as expected. All right, let's trash these two. Demolished. And get rid of these switches, I suppose. Like that. And then whatever this little paneling is, like that. And demolished. And that little piece there. All right. Looking good. So now what I'm going to do is bring back my backgrounds tag and you know, just kind of remind myself of what it is we're doing over here. So like, you know, these actually, yeah, that's a good point. So these are not getting demolished. So we'll bring those back. This bathroom is going to kind of remain. All right, so let me turn on my demolish tag, and then we're going to refresh this bathroom, but I think that like we could leave, you know, maybe we'll like leave the trim. This is definitely going to remain the same. This is definitely going to remain like that. All right, so these are going to be existing. And, you know, let's leave this alone for now. Let's just imagine that we're really not going to mess with any of this stuff in here. So like this entire bathroom is really just going to be existing like that. All right, so now if I turn off my demolished, you can see we have the existing pieces to remain. I'm going to freeze that background again so that I can kind of see through it. All right, let's bring it back. So background. All right, so we're going to need to demolish. Yeah, we're going to demolish this wall. We're going to demolish this wall, and then we're going to demolish this exterior wall all the way over. Okay, so when you're demolishing, like I was saying before, you know, we want to keep all this information in the same file. So, you know, instead of just like deleting the wall that's going to be demolished, we need to like kind of slice it. And maybe the Zorro tool will come in. That's a free plugin. I tend to use that a lot when I'm like slicing up these different groups in order to kind of, break one group of walls into two groups, So let's see what comes into play here. So like if I wanted to, kind of separate this wall here, I can double click in and hide the rest of my model. And then, I can see that like I would need to separate these pieces here. What I like to do is open up my Zorro toolbar. And this is a freebie on the extension warehouse. And then I have a keyboard shortcut for camera standard views top. I use Control 1. And then I do like camera parallel projection like that. And then I could use my Zorro tool and I could just like, slice it like that. And then slice it like that. And what this Zorro tool does is it like draws all the lines that you will need to kind of separate this thing out. So now when I draw like my selection there, you get one clean, let me go back to perspective, you've got that one clean selection here. And then I can group it and I could cut it. And then, typically I would like kind of patch this back in and clean it up, I mean, the cleaner you can make your files, just it's going to be better in the end. So that needs to be filled in like that and like that, like that. And yeah, I'll just leave that. All right. And then over here, I'm going to patch this guy up like this. And then we'll just kind of torch that. And then I'm going to leave some of those edges alone. I'm not sure what we were doing with those, but then I'm going to do a paste in place. All right, so that group, I pulled it out of there and then I pasted it back in place. That's under Edit, Paste in Place. My keyboard shortcut is Control-Shift-V. And then I'm going to use my line tool and patch that up. And we're going to patch this up as well, like that. Probably could have just drawn like that. Okay. All right, so now this wall right here, these are level 1 walls exterior existing. Well, this is going to be level 1 walls exterior demolished, like that. So now when we create our demolition plan, that'll automatically show up as a dashed line, which will indicate that we're getting rid of it. All right, so same drill over here. Again, Control 1 and then F8 is what I use to get to this view where I can use my Zorro tool, and then I can slice that wall. And then we're going to demolish. I think we're just torching this whole thing. So let's just cut another line right here. So using my Zorro tool, go like this, and then I'm going to add to the selection. All right, so then I can let me look at it from above again. I need to make a better selection. So we're going to go like real close to that wall, and that way we got all that stuff there. And then I can group it, I can cut it, and then I'm going to patch these walls with my line tool like that and like that. And then I can back out of here and I can do a paste in place. All right, so remember these are level 1 walls interior existing. These guys are going to be they're going to be level 1 walls interior demolished. Now this is also, you have the choice. There's kind of no right or wrong way to to group using the condoc tags. I mean, if you wanted to keep your walls together, like if you just want to like one group with all your walls, you can still use the condoc tags. But the advantage of this tagging system is that you can have all these independent pieces floating in your SketchUp model, and you can assign multiple tags to each one without having to do the groups within groups within groups to nest them. So like on these walls, like I could tag these level 1 walls interior demolished, and I'll remove that demolished tag for just a moment so they don't disappear. Or I could like explode these, and I could take like this chunk and this chunk and leave them as two different pieces and do level 1, you know, walls, interior, demolished. Either way is going to net the same results, and I think I prefer the latter. You know, I kind of like to just leave all the pieces floating, but it's a flexible system. All right, so now I think that looks pretty decent. And you know, I think we're getting rid of, I think we're just torching all this stuff here was kind of the idea. And, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we definitely are. Okay, so we need to slice out this wall. So let's do that again. So F8 like that. And I'm going to take a look. You know, we're going to get rid of this. We're going to slice it here, slice it here. All right, so again, with the Zorro tool, we can just draw those lines that we need real quick and easy. And then I can make my selection like that. And then I can group it. I can cut it. I can patch it like this and like this. And then I can use my eraser tool. And then I can back out of here, paste in place, level 1, walls, interior, demolished, like that. All right, and then you can always hit reset. You know, reset gets you back to, it basically triggers that design scene. So whatever, you know, whatever tags you've assigned, like if you turn on, you know, the property to save visible tags, then you can like, you know, trigger a specific layer state or tag state with when you hit that reset button, which I like to do. All right, so that's looking pretty decent. So we got, you know, kind of our demolition mostly taken care of. I think that we're gonna leave this intact. We need to like chop out this door here. So I'm gonna hit K as my keyboard shortcut for hidden lines. So I might just throw like a guideline here and a guideline there, and then maybe just strike another guideline like right there, and then I'll turn those off. And then I need to like pull a chunk of this. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do is yeah, it's kind of hard to see those guides when you're in there, but I'll use my rectangle tool, and I'm gonna draw that rectangle, and then I'm going to copy that, and then I'm gonna push pull like that, and then I'm gonna back out of here. I'm gonna paste in place with the push pull tool. I'm gonna double click, and that just did the exact same push pull. And now I can triple click to select all that connected grouping there, hit G to group it. That's going to be level 1 walls, interior, demolished. You know, so again, that way that's going to show up as dashed on my demolition plan. And then, you know, as far as trim goes and like light switches, I mean, I don't really put those on the demolition plan. This guy will be demolished, you know, so like the question is, you know, whether you want to, you know, try to show your trim. Man, it looks like that trim is off that wall. I'm not sure what that's all about. Let's just do this. We're going to, yeah, what am I looking at here? So that trim all down that hallway was kind of off the wall. Just trying to see if it like got nudged. I think what I did is I fixed the thickness of this wall, and then maybe the trim I didn't update the trim. But, you know what, I'm just gonna torch, we're just gonna call this demolished, and then we'll just draw new trim in if we even need to really see that ever. I don't know that we would ever do like a rendering of that hallway, or, you know, you could. All right, and then I can, you know, kind of clean this up. I think that's safe to do. All right. So we've demolished the doors, the walls, this chunk of wall. We're going to leave this bathroom all intact. And so, yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape. Okay. how we looking so far? We're 26 minutes in. Not too bad. Okay, so that's the walls that we're going to demolish. And now I think what we'll do is build some new walls. And, you know, I guess the way that I would approach this project, I was using this for a demo I did at 3D Basecamp last fall. So I was pretty familiar with like modeling the exterior, but I hadn't really gone through and done it like this, you know, and it's also been like almost a year. So I think what I'll do is we're going to approach this like an architectural project, not a rendering project. And we're going to actually model out all the interior walls that we're proposing. And then we'll kind of, you know, find our way to the outside, which brings us, you know, over to here. So, all right. So now, when I want to, let me just check something real quick, make sure everything's still firing the way I want. Cool. All right. So as I'm over here, I'm going to draw a rectangle on the floor. And it looks like these walls in layout were drawn at 4 inches. So, you know, typically we'd want those to be, you know, just make it the thickness of a stud. You know, 4 inches is kind of nothing, right, John? If you're still listening. So I'm going to make this at 3.5, comma 3.5, enter. All right, so that'll be 3.5 inches. You know, I guess the tricky part is that, like, you know, we're kind of working on existing walls that would have been scanned to the face of the drywall, but whatever, we're just going to roll with it. And then I'm going to pull this out. That one is at 3.5. So maybe it was just that wall. That was kind of goofy. I'm going to pull it across and snap here, and then pull it across and snap there, and then pull it across. And notice that I'm using that push-pull tool, and I tap Control, and then we can leave a copy of the starting face behind. So let's see. All right, and then I could like make a copy of this edge straight up like that. And I'm going to snap it here. I know, John, we did a whole presentation on that, didn't we? Talking about, you know, the right way to build these things. But no, that's definitely burned into my head now as to, you know, what I think the main thing is just it's either 3.5 on the inside or what do we say, 6 inches on the exterior walls, because you're going to dimension to the exterior face of the sheathing. So that works for me. All right, so I'm going to group this, and then we're going to call this level 1 walls interior new, like that. And just a reminder on that, you know, condoc tags, like we're assigning multiple SketchUp tags to one entity. So now all these SketchUp tags, if I go and look for level 1, controls the visibility of this wall. Walls controls the visibility. And interior controls the visibility, which, let me sort by name. So we got interior, and then we've got new, like that. So you can see we've effectively assigned multiple SketchUp tags to one entity. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to draw another rectangle here. And it does look like I made this 3.5, so I'm not sure what I had going on. I'm sure that I was trying to address the connection from an existing wall to a new wall, and I'm not sure what I was doing. But anyway, so we'll go like this and pull this up. So that was a clean 3.5. And then I can pull this across. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to delete this. And I want to, I actually found... Oh, yes. On Dale Martin's Sketch Plus plugin, which is really slick. You know, I kind of got into some of these when I was working on like a landscape drawing set for condoc. I was digging around and I was using like some of the component swapping and the random tools. And basically like Sketch Plus, let me give a little plug for this. Sketch Plus. And I'll bring this over here. All right, so you got Sketch Plus. Yeah, I found this to be really handy. Surprisingly handy. So there's all these tools. It's kind of like everything that you know, should have been included, or yeah, should be a default tool, but really improves the usability of SketchUp. So I hadn't really tinkered with it until a month or two ago. And one of the tools is the wall tool. And I thought, oh man, this is really slick. You know, and so like you can kind of draw a wall, and you know, I'm not even sure, like if I look at it, the width and the height, you can see in the bottom right corner of my screen, you know, 3.5, 9'6". Let me check my wall dimensions. Like, what are we drawing? We're at 7'6". So let me hit that wall tool again, say 3.5, 7'6", enter. You know, so now I'm drawing these walls like this. I mean, that's pretty sweet, right? You know, as far as, and if I tap the left arrow key, I can lock on the green. Or it felt like it did. No? Yes. Like that. And so 2.8. But, you know, I guess the question is, you know, what do you do in this situation where, you know, you get to this point, and then, you know, I'm curious, like if it's joining. I'm not real savvy with it, obviously, but anyway, the point is that instead of using the push-pull tool, you can kind of use this one tool and, you know, group it. I didn't do a very good demo there. I'm going to try again. For these, I'm not sure what you would do, you know, to kind of pull it across and leave like that opening for the door. I don't know if there's like a trick with this tool, but anyway, you could just kind of pull it along this way. And then it's just creating geometry, so you can explode it. You know, you can explode these. You know, this is all one big piece. I can use my move tool, make a copy of this and snap it to any of my other door heights. You know, push pull, triple click. I do delete coplanar edges a lot, like that. And that just kind of cleans everything up. Reverse my face, because I just like to make sure that everything is modeled just so as you go. All right, so this is going to be a group, and that's going to be level 1, walls, interior, and new. Yeah, Michael, as far as flex tools go, I don't really use, I found that using the, I forget what it's called. It's not wall cutter. What is that called? Flex tools. Maybe it's wall. Yeah, it is wall cutter. Dale has one as well, and I forget what that one's called then. But anyway, I found that this does work, but like oftentimes I need to commit it. So, which means that it just kind of like, you know, cuts it manually. So I found that my preference when using the flex tools, I love flex tools for their, you know, the doors and windows, and they've got this width, height call out that translates over into layout. You know, a lot of good things about it. And there's some other tools that I haven't even like totally dug into, like their, you know, component finder. I've heard a lot of good things about that as well. But anyways, as far as the wall cutter goes, it seemed to me it was just easier to cut my openings manually like this, and in the end I was committing those openings anyway. But yeah, let me know if you've had yeah, that's what I found, that it often breaks after a while, like after I'm messing around and moving things. Like I thought that their wall cutter functionality was pretty cool for you know, for early design, and you know, if you're scooting things around, and that's great. But if you need to create the construction documents and you're going to be like, you know, sectioning through it and sending it to layout, it became a little unreliable in my experience. But it was no problem, because you just like right click on it and then you like commit it, or and it just kind of punches the opening for you. So that was nice functionality they added. All right, so anyway, let's use you know, this MindSight Studio wall tool again. And so now and I can go like control cycles my placement point. So tapping control, that's really handy. I think that folks have asked me to make a tool like this, and I always thought, well, we're just really focused on not so much modeling as we are the drawings. I'm curious if like it leaves. See, it would be kind of cool if that left, as I clicked on each one of those points. It would almost be better if like it didn't join those perfectly. Like if it kind of broke that edge for me. I'll show you what I mean. Can I? Yeah, like this. Like if I draw a line from this point to this point, it'd be kind of handy if like when I was drawing that wall, if it left that segment, because then I need to come in and, I'll just make a copy of this line straight up on the blue. Oh, that's funky, like that. And then I'll draw a rectangle like that, and then we'll push-pull that through. All right, so yeah, I guess if I had a feature request for this wall tool, draw walls tool, I guess I'd say if there was just an option to kind of leave a vertical line behind, that would be handy, but I think it's pretty sweet too, the way it is. All right, and this is, I'm sure that our axes are kind of jacked around in some way, and I know that Dale's got an axis tool as well. Let me see here, and change. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna explode it and group it. I find that to be pretty easy. All right, so that takes care of that chunk of walls, and yeah, I kind of left, designed around that window, and then we can go, I could just use the native tools as well, so I can make a copy like this, and then use my push-pull tool like that. Oops, let's do this. I'm going to use my push-pull tool. So this is kind of what I'm getting at, is like with the push-pull tool, I can leave that copy of the starting face behind. I just need some kind of version of that. All right, tap the up arrow key to lock that blue, and then I'll push-pull like that and clean those up like that. All right, and then as far as a new wall goes, between from here to here is a new wall, and then I need to pull that down like that, and again I'll explode it, group it, and this is going to be level 1 walls interior new like that, and then this is level 1 walls interior new. This I want to reverse my face like that, and John, you saying that Justin knows something I don't? I'm guessing he does. If there's anyone who knows every plugin in the book, there's got to be a way to do it. Let me know. All right, so that looks pretty good, and Control E, it's my shortcut for clear guides. So, we're in decent shape there. This, I'm just gonna patch this up. This is a canvas scan, and they kind of, this was actually what was going on. They had this kind of open, but I don't really need, that's trim. I'm just gonna, I could probably just call this a wall. Instead of trim, we're gonna make this new, and it's gonna be a wall. And then we're just going to pull this in and just kind of like, show that we're patching that in with new, like that. I think I was kind of, Justin, I was explaining how with this this draw walls tool, when you're drawing a wall, it'd be nice, I often, might draw it like, 32 inches, and then I want like a vertical line left behind, kind of like I do with the push-pull tool. I was just showing how this is a nice tool, the Sketch Plus draw walls tool. But I often, when I'm using like my push pull tool, I might tap control and leave those verticals behind. And I was just saying, like, it'd be slick if there's a way to do that with the draw walls tool. But you're the guy who knows all these extensions, So now I'm deflecting and I'm putting it on you. It's no longer about me not knowing how to do it. It's now about Justin Geist not knowing how to do it. Oh man, yeah, that's true. I bet you a profile builder, you could just use like a simple rectangle, Yeah, and the bounding box on this is it's a little bit goofy. Like I have a feeling it's based on, like, I had tweaked these axes. I do remember doing that. So I'm gonna reset my axes. I'm pretty sure that the bounding box it's working off is based on the origin, like the absolute origin is my guess. So now, if I draw this way, yeah. So now the bounding box is lined up properly. But because I imported the site and wanted to align my design or this house on the site, I had to kind of, adjust the axes, which is, it's technically not the axis. It's technically the drawing context, I believe. Although you do use the axes tool, or they call it the sketching context, of course. Anyway, I think that's what it's doing. So anyways, hey, maybe that's another feature request, is like, instead of working off of the origin, perhaps it'd be better to work off the active sketching context when creating that bounding box. But all right, so we got our walls. These are going to be level 1 walls, interior new, like that. All right, and this will be pretty easy one. We can make a new floor. So I'll just, I put my cursor on here with the rectangle tool, kind of snap to that wall, pull this floor out like this. I'm just going to pull it all the way out and then pull it across like this and like that. All right. And so, we'll leave the floor. Let's leave the floor on the inside of the wall for now. And that's what's happening there. All right, so this is going to be a group, and that's going to be level 1 floors interior new, like that. All right, save this, and all right, and then we're going to draw some exterior walls, but let me turn everything on here, and I guess this is where it might be a good idea to start some demolition. Maybe let's size it up, so I can tell that pretty much let's just demolish like kind of this portion of the roof, and we could always change our mind, and something I got to keep in mind is that this roof is a little bit goofy. It kind of sticks out on this side here, like it kind of angles out. So what I'm going to do is just, I guess I'll just use my Zorro tool again, and let me see here. Camera, standard views, top. What was going on with that? So now our top is kind of goofy. That's funny. All right. So let's see. Solid tool, subtract. Is this a solid? It is a solid. Oh God. Solid tools. Let's see. I like that idea. Here's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste in place. I'm going to group it and hit enter. I'm going to scale it like this. and then I'm going to pull it like this, and a little bit out like this, and a little bit out like that. And then I'll never forget this. You do this to that with the solid tools. Terry, thanks. Yeah, I opened the session by saying you can all watch me fumble around a bit, you know. But it is super handy to have some other experts in here coaching me along. Let's see. Solid tools. We do this to that. So we want subtract. And so I think the clearest way to teach these tools is to have no selection, although you could pre-select it. And we're going to subtract this from that, like that. Oh, but you know what? I don't want it to be a subtract. I want it to be I want all the pieces to remain and only keep their overlapping. I want to split this and that. All right, so now I can delete this. I'm left with this, and look at how goofy this is. So let's fix our texture. Let me see if I can just like sample this or texture. No, I can't reset it. Let me explode it and group it, and then texture, position, rotate 90, enter. All right, so this is going to be okay, and like that blew up my this blew up my condoc tags. I'm sure that I had. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to undo, and I'm just going to go back and look at this real quick, like this. Yeah, see, I had level 1 roof exterior existing, and when I redo, which I guess it doesn't want to let me go all the way. All right, let's do that again. We're going to do a split. Keeping the solid. Was it a split? We're going to split this from that. And then we got trash. Okay, so it kills my tags. Whatever. I'm going to explode and group. And then the other plugin was Christina Enrat's. Man, where I've just got all these. I had like I think it was called like material. I had like a material rotating plugin. I believe it was Christina's. Yeah. I'm not seeing it. Extension manager. I wonder if I disabled it. Oh, yeah. It's enabled. Texture positioning tools. Texture positioning. There you go. All right. This I thought was great. Like one click to rotate. I mean, think about, yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks, Justin. And yeah, Ian, thank God for Control Z. Yeah. And Control Y, right? Let's see. And am I right? Is that Robert for Studio RT? Robert Coolidge, right? The whole building is not a group. It could have its own, you could take, there would be nothing wrong with that. You could take all this stuff and you could put it into its own group or component and set its axes. But the whole point with the condoc tagging and all that is just to keep everything floating and to not have to drill in any more than like one time to work on edges and surfaces. So that's my preference, but yeah, you're right. You could totally do that. There'd be nothing wrong with that. But yeah, no big deal. You can always just go like, level 1. I can tag both of these, roof, exterior, and then I'll hit it with existing. And then this guy, I'm going to switch to demolished like that. All right. So then that way, we're just kind of like have a clean, we're going to demolish. I'm sure we would demolish this ceiling as well, like that. And, yeah. All right, and you know the nice thing is you can any of this stuff you can make changes anytime. You know, let me see if we're still cranking here. We're looking good. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of I made a smoothie. Yeah, so you're right. It does not conflict with the system. If you were to make the you know, make this switch to our other camera. If you were to make the whole thing one big group, that would not affect the system. Although something that it would affect with our system, let me show you this. It would affect, like, you know, with the express tools. So like element tag freeze, I can like just turn things off, you know, so this is like turning off the tags by just clicking on objects. And if I hit reset, you know, I can isolate my floors and my walls by hitting, like, you know, tag isolate, like that. If you group, you know, if I were to like take all this stuff and like group it, like this, and now my tag freeze doesn't reach through. So anyways, that's one reason I wouldn't like to use it. And I can't remember why. I'm sure that we made it a point to only work on the outside, and I'm not recalling right now why we did that, because I'm sure it's very possible to, like, you know, reach through and read all the different tags, but for whatever reason we just, you know, made it so it only responds to the like outermost tag. But anyway, so for me, my preference is just to keep everything as, like, you know, individual pieces that are sitting in my SketchUp model, and then I just tag each one kind of independently. So, you know, and it's also like really easy to, like I was showing you, if you want to like isolate the walls, you know, and then you can really pick through the walls very quickly, you know. So it's just super easy to kind of split your model apart in these meaningful ways, even if you need to like make adjustments to your tagging. So all right, and all right, so I guess at this point I would just go with, let's go back to our draw wall tool, and this one I'm gonna call it like 6,96, just to have like a rough dimension on it. And then we're gonna go, I'm gonna hit Control, and then we're gonna turn the corner like this, and I'm just gonna run it, I guess, all the way down like that, and then all the way down there. Okay, so this would be our exterior. So I'm gonna explode it, group it, and these are gonna be level 1 walls, exterior, new. So I guess, yeah, that really kind of begs the question, is it better to draw your walls with that wall tool, or, you know, like, I guess what I'm used to doing is I would draw, like, I would tap the up arrow key, you know, and I would draw like a you know, 6,6, enter, and then I'd pull this up to, you know, whatever needs to be, and then pull this out, tap Control, and, you know, turn the corner with 6 inches, and then pull it back this way. I'll leave those windows alone. We'll sort those out. And, you know, when I have that, you know, leave copy of starting face behind, you know, I can leave my door and my window openings, and which I guess, you know, technically I haven't truly designed all that yet. You know, they're located, but they're probably not accurate, and they're definitely going to move around. So I don't know if it's better to do it this way or not. That'll be, let me see. We're going to call that, whenever I get that little, you know, squiggly there, 3 foot and 3 foot, and we'll just pull it all the way back like that. Yeah, so then you're left with something like that. and I can group it, or I don't even have to group it yet. I could use my tape measure tool. Let's see, we'll do like maybe 7'6", like that. Draw some lines. Maybe I'll just even strike that line all the way across like that. Use my push-pull tool and then double click. This is going to be a window. That's definitely a door. And so now here's a way to select like the bottom edges. You know, I just double click and then I would remove those pieces, and then I could, you know, make a copy by say 3 feet, maybe another 6 inches on that. I don't know. We'll just get the windows in there and then we can adjust them. And then I'll use my push-pull tool again. Looks like I need to strike this line across like this and like that, and then push-pull. I don't think that's, I think I was going to do, let's do more of a corner window situation, but you know, all of this, we can go check the design model of what I actually came up with in the end. Sometimes I do use the push-pull tool as just kind of a quick select, you know, because then you can just go through and you know, you can kind of like, while something is active, you can use it to select without actually like clicking, like that. And then you know, this other plugin, the delete coplanar edges, it is handy, and this one didn't quite punch through, so let me try that again and let me check why that was the case, because if this isn't the right dimension, I want to fix that now. See, that's at 6.5. So let me do this. Let's just torch this whole thing. I kind of goofed something up here. So I'm going to make this a group, hop in, hide rest of model, torch all this stuff, and then make sure that I want this to be like a clean, you know, 6 inches. So let's see, we'll just call it 6, like that, and then I'm going to pull this out by 36, and then we'll kind of do the rest of it here like that. All right, my move tool, make a copy, push pull, 6. All right, and then what I was going to say is when I use this delete coplanar edges, it's going to, you know, clean up all these extra lines that I have, but I found that sometimes it will, you know, sometimes when you hit the delete coplanar edges, it like kills a bunch of surfaces that you wanted, and it can be kind of a hassle to undo it, because the undo is kind of like every single edge that it deleted one at a time. So what I found is I just kind of like copy everything. So, you know, I just select all, copy it, and then I run my delete coplanar edges, and that looks good, you know. But if it had like messed something up, like let's say it, you know, just kind of goofed it up, it'd be easy for me to then paste it back in place if I, you know, rather than undoing, you know, 500 operations. But that worked the way I wanted it to, and then it like didn't work the second time, did it? So let's see, that's gonna stay there. Yeah, it's fine. We'll delete coplanar edges, and actually that's kind of handy. It's kind of unpredictable, to be honest, why it leaves certain things behind, but anyway, for the most part, that cleaned it up the way I wanted it to. Definitely a jump start on it. All right, so all elements on. We're going to go to our tags. You know, we do have this, you know, on this Condoc system heads-up display, you can toggle your level tags, which on this project isn't really necessary because there's only one level. You can toggle like interior versus exterior, but then also you can toggle like demo in existing and new. But we kind of came up with like some different combinations, and I think I might have touched on that earlier, but like, okay, this is what's being demolished, you know, And this is a great way to check, like this, for things that are untagged or that are not properly tagged. So like this, I can tell right away, this is like exterior, new walls, level 1. All right, so now this is everything that's being demolished. And let's make sure that we have interior and exterior. So like floor wise, what's up with our floor? So, I can see, I guess we're not demolishing any floor. Okay, we're good. All right, so then you've got like existing and new. So existing and new equals proposed. So that's how you get to proposed. And then like demo and existing would equal your existing conditions. And demo and new, what does demo and new mean? Demo and new, I don't even know what I was getting at there. Point is that like these are kind of confusing so I don't use them a ton, but it is better than, usually it's better than like tinkering with, basically any time that you're over here messing around in this tags dialog looking for a tag name and a little eyeball. I find that to be super annoying, and it really hinders me. So it's like you can just cycle through things here, hit reset, say, show me, existing and new. Okay, you get kind of used to it. But anyway, that's what's going on there. All right, so I'm going to save this. And how are we doing on time? I think I am, let's see. I am going to kind of keep this one. I'm going to like kind of keep it to close to an hour. So I might do just a little bit more to clean this up. And yeah, I really was psyched to just kind of get back into this and, do these live streams again. So I don't want to push my luck today on my first one, and we'll keep things rolling here. I'm going to mass in the roof, and we'll call that proposed. And that way we'll have like kind of the shell of the proposed drawings. And then maybe in a week or so, probably do these every other week, I think. I'll come up with a schedule that's a little more manageable than, last fall when I was trying to do them like every week for 8 weeks. So anyways, yeah, let's do this. I'm going to just sort out the roof, and so we'll do all elements on for a minute. And, really what I can do is I'm going to grab this piece right here. You know what? That one angles out. I'm not going to grab that piece. I'm going to grab this piece, and I'm going to make a copy of it like that. Let's see. What do we have here? I'm going to delete that. I'm going to grab this piece, and we're going to make a copy of this like that. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to back out of here. I'm going to paste in place. I'm going to group it. I'm going to rotate by 90. And then I'm going to move it over. And I just kind of want to use that existing roof pitch. So let's hit reset. And then figure out how are we going to, get this located. And I guess the other question is where do I want this? How are we going to do this? What are we doing? This is all part of the design, right? Like figuring out, how are we going to make this work? So let me get my, let's do all on, and there we go, like that. All right, I'm kind of warming up to this button. I was staying. I don't use it a ton, but I can see maybe that is a little more handy than I'm realizing. So, yeah, I'm just trying to. Let's use our new mirror tool, because I know that we're going to need to flip this no matter what. Or I guess this is our flip tool. And then I'm going to take both of these, explode them, group them, and yeah, it's like, I guess I would just need this to kind of land you know, when I'm sorting this out, I will say that when I was working on this demo, I had the whole routine down on how to build this thing real quick. So let's see, let me get this back on, and I'm going to scoot this to the edge here and see what this does. Like that. Kind of scoot it back this way. And I'm going to delete that. I'm going to pull this piece back, you know, and just kind of see like if that starts to, you know, make a little bit of sense. I mean, you can see like, you know, this wall is going to come out. You know, so if I want to turn on my proposed or my new, yeah, okay, well that makes sense. So really, it seems like the rule that I've got on the existing looks like I called it roughly, yeah, a 2-foot overhang. So let's put a 2-foot overhang on this roof. All right, so like from here, I need, you know, 2 feet out on the red axis, call it 24. And then I'm going to draw a, am I not on the, yeah, I'm not on there. Let's pull this out like that. And then we're going to draw our line like that. Hide rest to model, and then push this back like that. Yeah, roofs. Yeah, I think actually with this roof, maybe I would, I don't want to cheat and go look at my, I have a design model where I actually sorted this all out. Maybe I should cheat and go look at it. Just to see what I did, copy, paste, and place back in here. I think what I would probably do on this roof is try to get it to line up with this. That's kind of my gut instinct, would be to get it like, you know, so that I'm going to undo, and then, you know, so that it kind of like looks like it's merging properly with this roof. Let's see what that looks like, you know. I can just, you know, pull this now all the way back like that. I mean, you know, that's probably more what I would try to do to make it look right. Yeah, either the eaves match or the ridge matches. And I mean, yeah, you probably get I think this is where I want to go with it. Let's cheat. Let's go look at it real quick. Over here I've got, here's our mid-century modern. And, you know, this might be a good way to kind of wrap things up. Proposed. All right, and I'm not going to dare double click on that because it just never opens in the version you want. And we're going to open this up, and then we're going to open that final and see what it is I came up with. All right, so open file from my device, and we're going to go to content and BD live, mid-century modern, and here's our proposed. So yeah, let's take a look at like where we're headed, and then I think I'm going to call it good for today. And there was no catastrophic technology failures. We're in good shape. And not yet, at least. Yep. So I matched, yeah, this kind of matched the kind of the eave line or soffit line, you want to call it. And then it feels like something's a little different there. You know, like I don't remember that being so clean. So what I did was I scooted that over quite a bit, and maybe there's a different pitch on it. I'm just gonna copy this and go look at it, paste in place. All right, so I've got things, yeah, different pitch maybe. Something's jacked around. Anyways, let's check the pitch. That's going to be fun. Let's use this protractor tool. I don't even know this, because this is like, we're calling it 21.3. And I'm rather certain I would have matched it, but maybe I didn't. And then from here, and we're going to go like this. 18. Yeah, it looks like it's different. It's goofy though, because, you know, when it's hard to measure and work with this file, because this kind of, you know, skews outward. And I did the same. I did the same thing here to match it. So I might have just changed the pitch. I'm gonna go look at the drawings, because it doesn't feel like something I would have done. But let's see if I called it out in the drawings. You never know where you get, you know, when you're making all these decisions and sorting it all out. So match existing pitch. I know I remember saying that. Yeah. So if John Brock, if you're still listening, this is where you just write match existing pitch and then let you figure it out. Yeah. So anyway, well, I'm going to call it there for today. Let me get back to my file. I'm going to leave this mess for the next session. We'll pick up, and maybe I'll just take a quick look at it so I'm not fumbling around too much. But anyways, I appreciate you guys being here, you know, and also chiming in. It's always fun to kick it and kind of walk through and hear what you guys have to say about it. So anyways, thanks for being here. And yeah, maybe in like 2 weeks I'll pick up again, and yeah, drop in casually, or, you know, just put this on, or, you know, participate in the chat. It's all good either way. Look forward to hearing from you. I'll catch you soon. Thanks, Ian. Yeah, that is the best part, right? Right on, guys. All right, we'll be in touch. I'll catch you guys soon. Thank you.